Okay, I'm going to give you an idea of how to begin to set up the amplifier in preparation for your ion channel recording device chamber of some sort, whatever it is. And so I'm just going to go through this briefly. I'm going to assume that you're going to start with the simplest components, which means you won't have an interface to a computer like I have. You can see my hard drive is down there. But the reason why I'm saying you're not going to start out this way is because it's expensive to buy the components to get your signal into a computer, because you need a special card from the company that produces this amplifier. So what I'm going to recommend is the following video is going to make recommendations so that you can hook up your signal, your output signal from this amplifier to an oscilloscope. And even though that's not going to digitize your data, it's going to give you a visual picture of some feedback about how your system is set up, and if you're getting any currents in your chamber, whatever that may be. So it's really simple because you're not going into a computer. It's going to be really easy to set this up. So what I have here is this is the replica. This is the the amplifier that you'll be using. And right up here I have a second amplifier. It's the same thing except turned around, facing looking at the back of it, so you can see how I have things hooked up. And so let's just go ahead and start with the hookup of the cables. You will need to have one cable hooked up to the scaled output, and that's indicated here. And from here, this cable, the scaled output, will go to one of your oscilloscope inputs, because this is one of the signals that you want to monitor. This is one that you want to see flickering across your oscilloscope screen, and it will be a reflection of the current that's passing through your ion channels in the in your chamber, whatever that may be. And the second signal that you may want to be monitoring, which is probably not too necessary, but it's good if you can do it, is the actual voltage that's occurring across your ion channel in your chamber, whatever that may be. So this is going to be your voltage sensing output. And this will also go into a second input into your oscilloscope, assuming that you can have two signals going input to your oscilloscope at the same time. And this will tell you just essentially what your voltage is that you dial in to be across your ion channel preparation. So that's really it. Those two cables going out, and both of them will head off. I mean, they're not heading off anywhere right now because I just plug them in as a demonstration purpose that you need to hook up two BNC cables, and then these two, the other end, will go into your oscilloscope. Okay, now this amplifier here can look pretty intimidating, and it is still intimidating to me. But for hooking this up to an oscilloscope, you only need to be concerned about a few things. Number one is this: you want to have this button pushed, because these readings will be a reflection of the voltage that's going across your ion channel preparation. So you'll want to have that V1 pushed, and in order to set a membrane potential across your preparation, you will use this gadget here under voltage clamp. So this is how you dial in a voltage across your preparation, and you can either make it go negative or positive. You just push one of these buttons and then you dial in a value, and once you have your electrodes hooked up to the chamber, the number that you see reading out here should reflect what you're spinning in over here. Right now I don't have the electrodes in my bath, so it's kind of like a nonsense number, but I'm going to spin this anyway to show you that these values change. Okay, so let's see, spinning, not much. Let me put this on positive, because I think I should. had a bigger reaction earlier when it was on positive, so let's see what happens. Oh, okay. So it's not this dial is not responding to the input over here because, you know, it's not set up properly. The electrodes are not even in my chamber, so it's impossible to have a closed circuit to work on. I can't tell you any more than that, but once you have your system set up to your chamber, whatever that may be, then you'll start to be able to dial in a potential, and it should read out here if you have this voltage pressed. That's really the main things that you have to be concerned about. This is another thing. While you're getting things set up, you always have this in the setup mode, and then when you're ready to dial in, a potential across your bath, you have to push the voltage clamp, or this will not be doing anything. Those are the main things that you have to know about. This is the power button, and I think that amount of information will get you started. Now, another thing you need to know about is hooking up these what they call these head stages. There's a head stage. There's two of them for my purposes in my recording. And the head stage over here is sensing the voltage across the membrane of the oocyte. The second head stage over here is current delivering, which will deliver the amount of current required to maintain a voltage across the membrane. So when ion channels begin to open, they're going to allow current to flow across the membrane of the oocyte, and according to according to Ohm's law, V equal IR. Once you have current moving, once the current starts changing, then the voltage changes. So once the ion channels open up, this electrode will sense the voltage change, and then this head stage over here will inject a current that will maintain the voltage to its original level, if that's what you want to do. And usually that's what you want to do. So that's the purpose of these two head stages. And I do have a second set of head stages. They're exactly the same thing. And these will be plugged into the back of the amplifier. It's pretty self-explanatory. These are the connections that you will use to go to one of these receptacles, and you can see here that you have only 4 choices of where they're going to go. One here, this says bath clamp head stage, which you may or may not use. I tried using it, and it doesn't really give me any particular advantage, so I don't use that. Head stage number 3 is says, is this for patch clamping? So right now I think these head stages are for wholesale recording, not for patch clamping, which may not be useful to you, but they're good to get started and help you troubleshoot your signal. So that leaves these two left here. So head stage number 2, it says it right there, current, and then head stage number 3, voltage. So that makes it pretty easy to figure out which one goes in where. So I presently have this set up that the current delivering head stage has the numbers on it. I don't know if you can see that. There it is. It says HS2A head stage, gain of 1. So I'll just look over here on this one. HS2A head stage, gain X10 MGU, and this is the current delivering head stage. The voltage sensing head stage is going to be this guy here. HS2A head stage, gain X1LU. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that on here or not, but so that's going to be the voltage sensing head stage. So you're going to, so from the head stage, you can see that you have this receptacle in the front here, and this one here is the. I'm going to work with this other one. This is the voltage sensing head stage. Remember, it's the gain is 1 LU. Gain, yes, okay, that's correct. So this is your voltage sensing head stage, and this is where this white cap, that is where you're going to connect your electrode, and it goes into this pin, a gold pin, and it's going to go from this pin here, and it's going to go into your chamber setup, whatever that may be, and it's going to be on one side of the membrane. Let's call it the external side of the membrane. And then similarly with the other head stage, the current delivering head stage also has a pin in which you're going to insert another electrode to make contact with the bath on the intracellular side of your membrane preparation, whatever that may be. So you're going to have to figure out how you're going to get a pin into that mounting so that it has a good connection, and then you're good to go. I think that's most of what you need to know. One other thing is on the voltage sensing head stage, you'll notice in the back that there's a yellow collar. You see that yellow collar? It has a pin in it. You can see a pin, and that's this guy right there. Right there. That's a pin, and that's a ground pin. So you need to have a third electrode going from your bath. And I'll show you what I have set up here. This black thing here, that's actually a ground, and that's going from the bath into the back of the head stage that I just showed you, into that gold collar. So that's a ground. I can't exactly explain what the importance of that is, but it keeps everything, it keeps the signal noise ratio low, and you probably have a better concept of what grounding does. So I'll just leave it at that. And finally, there is no, I think that's pretty much it. So those are the main things that you have to work with in order to get your basic thing set up. Like I said, I don't know what your recording chamber is going to be, but you know, I think if you show me what you got, and whatever your ideas are for it, you know, we can work together with trying to make it compatible with using this amplifier here, and and then we can hook it up to an oscilloscope and see what we can do. End of lesson number 1.